Now, having understood cash conversion cycles, the next question that should come in our mind is that what is the ideal cash conversion cycle, or is it kind of different for different industries? So let's take two examples. Let's take an example of a restaurant. The other example could be a manufacturing firm. Okay, if we have these two examples, which one do you think will show a higher cash conversion cycle? Will it be a restaurant or will it be a manufacturing firm? So let's kind of intuitively build and see which one of them will actually have a higher cash conversion cycle. So when we talk about cash conversion cycles, the first one to start with will be receivable days. That essentially means cash collection days. So in the case of restaurants, how does the customer pays in the restaurants? Basically it is upfront, so receivable days will be essentially zero. However, when we talk about a manufacturing firm, think about an automobile firm where the product has been distributed to the different distribution centers or warehouses. So it may take some time for converting it into from the finished goods to the sales, and ultimately the receivables being converted into cash. So say for example, if we assume that this company follows a 60-day policy of giving credits to the customers, so here it will be 60, right? Now let's move forward. The next comes as the inventory processing days. Now when we look at inventory processing days and compare the restaurant with the manufacturing firm, obviously what is the inventory for a restaurant? An inventory for a restaurant could be something like food or perishable product. Raw materials would be onions, tomatoes, all of these, which would be really classified as perishable products. So they cannot be stored for a longer duration. So inventory processing days could be very less, maybe 5 days. This is just an assumption, however, we just want to exaggerate and kind of compare this with the manufacturing firms. Manufacturing firms, to produce an automobile, it may take a real long time. Assemble everything at one place, process it, integrate everything. So let's assume that it takes 90 days. And what about the payable days? The payable days, who are the suppliers to the restaurants? They would be farmers, they would be vegetable vendors, so they will provide perishable vegetables to the restaurants, and maybe the restaurant has a policy of paying them in 30 days. So we're just assuming that this could be 30 days. It can be 60 days, 90 days as well, but a reasonable number would be something like 30 days for them. A manufacturing facility, obviously when manufacturing companies talked about, we're talking about large scale suppliers. So steering in case of automobile, or steel metal sheets in case of automobiles. So these raw materials will cost huge amounts, and maybe the manufacturing firm has a typical number of payable days, say for example assuming that it was 60 days. So let's calculate the cash conversion cycle for restaurant and for the manufacturing facility. So here for the restaurant it will be receivable days plus inventory days and minus the payable days. So this will be 0 plus 5 minus 30. This is minus 25 days. Note a negative number. This brings us to the question, can cash conversion cycle be actually negative? Yes, it can be a negative number. Think about a manufacturing firm now. So receivable days 60, you add this up to the inventory days and subtract this from the payable days. So how many number of days do we have? 60 plus 90 minus 60, that comes out to be 90 days. So typically you'll find that the manufacturing firm shows a higher cash conversion cycle than certain industries like retail or restaurants. In fact, when you talk about a larger manufacturing facility, these cash conversion cycles can also increase to 180 days and above. So this is a typical way in which cash conversion cycles are compared. So if they are compared across industries, this is what the result would be. Restaurants will show a lower cash conversion cycle than the manufacturing firms.